finally tonight. I'm doing this on my laptop webcam, so we'll see how that goes. Broadly after this, I'm going to be switching over to doing stuff on recorded audio or voiceover audio. So, but I wanted to say hi before we started. So, tonight's menu is going to be beet soup with fried egg on top, and I'm going to put a dinner roll on the side. All of it is really heavily inspired by stuff you can find in Minecraft, and we'll talk about that through the rest of the video. That said, bon appetit.
All right, the hardware you'll need, we're gonna get a pot with a lid. It should fit well. We're also gonna need a little pan with a lid to go on that as well. Mixing bowl, an immersion blender. You can use a regular blender if you have one, but this is easy. And a muffin tin. There we go. Okay, and next up in everything, this is going to be for the dinner rolls. We're going to start with some flour, milk, baking soda, and salt. Just some happy spices and a little bit of mayonnaise. I use Miracle Whip. For the soup, we need beets. We're going to use Fresno peppers, garlic, ginger, an onion, some Greek yogurt, plain, gold potatoes, soy sauce, and we're going to have an egg here for the top. I should have put that in a different color bowl. To kick it off, we're going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. And we're going to go ahead and Pam spray the dinner rolls. The thing I like about these dinner rolls is that they're pretty much just flour and milk for the most part, and both of those things are super available in Minecraft. Okay, time to start getting everything mixed up. We're just going to dump everything pretty much in the same bowl. I like pre-measuring everything. I'm going to put the measurements, by the way, in the description for this video, so you don't have to try to catch it off of, like, freeze frame or something like that. These are really super easy. There's no yeast in them. They're only a handful of ingredients, usually stuff you have around the house anyway. And, yeah, you just mix it all up and go from there. The reason I kind of like adding these into soups and stuff like that is they're kind of rustic, and I feel like that's the kind of dinner roll bread you would get from a Minecraft experience. You know, something you just throw in the oven, or throw in the furnace, I guess, in Minecraft, and it comes out, just super duper rustic-y. I got it everywhere. Moving on. So you don't want to overmix this, but I do like to make sure that all of the flour is incorporated, so there's nothing super grainy on the outside. It is really, really sticky, as you're going to see. But once you get it all mixed up, then we are going to go ahead and start portioning it out. There we go. Mixed dough. Woo! And I kept mixing. I use a regular spoon for this. It just makes it a little bit easier. It goes without saying, please make sure that your fingers are clean before you start this. You're going to use that to pry off all of the dough. This particular recipe makes 4 rolls. You could upsize it if you needed to for more. Since I live on my own, I generally tend to make smaller batches because I have to, figure out what I'm going to do with them afterwards. So, for me, 4 is great. I don't usually have that much extra afterwards. Here we go. All set. I am pretty fastidious about trying to clean out the bowl as much as possible and even out the rolls. You don't want to make the dough look even though, just kind of dump it in there and let it bake. All right, once it's preheated, which it is now, we're going to go ahead and toss these guys in the oven. Get the flour off because I made a mess. They're going to go in for 15 minutes. They cook pretty quickly. So go ahead, set your timer, and while they're in the oven, we're going to go ahead and start fixing up the rest of our ingredients. Start with the onions. For whatever goes into the soup at the same time, I tend to shove it all in the same bowl. Just figure it makes my life easier. You don't have to do anything special with these. We are going to blend the crap out of this soup, so, all we're doing is cutting it up into big chunks, just enough that it'll cook, and then, cook evenly, I should say. And then once we're good with that, then we're going to blend it all up. So it doesn't have to be pretty. If you want to work on your knife skills for soup, this is a good time to do it because, nobody's ever going to see the finished product. So if you mess up, it's not a big deal. Okay, onions all cut up. Next we are oh, I put a bag in here, by the way. This is my trash bag. I hate having onion in the garbage because it just starts to reek. So all the extra stuff just goes in the trash bag. Next up, we're working on the Fresno peppers. Here again, they don't have to be phenomenally like cut in any way pretty. I've just been slicing them up. I like everything super spicy. If you are not into spicy, take the seeds and the veining out first and just leave the peppers. I like to try to kill myself with spice, so here we go. Next up, we're going to go ahead and deal with the ginger. I like to do the garlic last because it's kind of oily. I cut off all the dry parts. I'm not going to use them anyway, so you know, just make sure we've got everything that kind of dried out at the edges. I use a lot of ginger. Basically, I like to skin it with a knife instead of a peeler. And then here again, we're just going to go ahead and chop it up kind of nice and fine. The peeling took a while, by the way, but it was pretty boring, so we skipped over it. This, again, doesn't have to be pretty. You don't have to try to do anything super special with it. Just get it into pieces, and you'll be good to go. And I always make a mess. By the by, do not use the pre-done ginger in the store, like the ginger in oil and stuff like that. It just doesn't have any flavor. I tried, it doesn't work. Use regular ginger, real ginger. You'll thank yourself. Next up with garlic. The original recipe called for 3. One of the recipes I was looking at, I should say, called for 3 cloves of garlic. I laugh at 3 cloves of garlic, so here we are with like 6. Garlic is super easy to peel if you know what you're doing. Your trick is to smack it with a knife and then cut off the bottom. So we'll see that in action now. Get the knife, the flat on it, whack, alright. Cut off the like root part, and then you can just peel the paper straight off. There you go. Alright, same with the garlic that we did with the ginger. We're just cutting it up. Again with this, please don't use the pre-minced garlic. I did for a long time because I didn't want to have to deal with garlic, and I can tell you from experience that all the pre-minced stuff just does not taste anywhere near as good as fresh. So do yourself this favor, get good at doing garlic and ginger and stuff like that. Meanwhile, the oven beeped. Hey, look, they're really pretty. Golden brown and delicious. Haha. Now, a piece of hardware I did not call out earlier, but if you have it, you'll be really happy you do. Get a nice cooling rack or something like that. You know, same kind of thing you'd use for cookies, just to stop the cooking on the bottom of the rolls. Go ahead and take them out, set them on the rack. You'll be happy you did. All right, we're back to it. So we're cutting up the potatoes here again, just super diced, you know, or chopped, nothing serious. I leave the skin on potatoes. It has all the nutrients. However, I do skin beets. And in this point, I'm using a potato peeler to peel the beets because the outer skin is pretty tough and not at all what you want in your soup. I have found that going sideways, like you can kind of see here, I'm not going up and down the beet, I'm going around the side of the beet, is a little bit easier. Probably something to do with the fibers. I have not Googled this to verify, but we're just going to pretend that might be the answer. Don't worry too much about the edges. You're going to take care of that with a knife after you're done. And you can see it is getting all over my hands. Beets are horribly messy. It goes without saying, please don't wear white while you're doing this. And here I am just trying to get... Oh, and I noticed you guys can't see me. Haha. Alright. I'm just getting some of the end stuff off. If you get beets, by the way, that have beet greens, don't throw the beet greens away. They're actually really good culinarily. You can actually bake them like you would kale. Or, you know, use them in a salad, things like that. So, mine didn't happen to come with greens, but most of the time I get them, they do. So, and then I eat the greens with something else that week. Once you've cut the greens off the beet, though, they do wilt pretty quickly. So if you're gonna eat the beet greens and you're not gonna have the soup until later in the week, then have the greens kind of early and keep the root for your soup. And then here again, we're just kind of giving it a rough chop. Like 8 is good. As long as everything's about the same size, you're in good shape. That's the most important part. My hands! Blah! I took a moment now to wash dishes. Yes, I use my dishwasher as a drying rack. I know, whatever. But I hate doing all the dishes at the end, like when it's just a giant pile of a ridiculous amount of dishes, so here we are. Alright, and while we're at it, it's a good time to go ahead and throw out your trash bag. That way your garbage doesn't stink in your house. Okay, to the actual cooking. I put the, I changed out pots, by the way. I got kind of skittish about how little the other pot was and got a bigger one. I put some oil in, let it get hot over medium-high heat, and then dumped in all of the aromatics, the peppers, the onion, the garlic, and the ginger. And we're going to give them a couple of minutes just to get nice and hot. Give them a good stir. Keep an eye on them. They will burn. You might get some browned stuff on the bottom of your pan. That's okay. It tastes good later. So, you know, don't freak out about that if that starts to happen. I always set a timer, by the way. I can't be trusted to remember myself. I need BBs. All right. I do like to salt and pepper the aromatics. It draws out a little more moisture out of the onions, garlic, things like that. So salt and pepper, always a good thing. We're going to add more salt and pepper later, but you kind of can never have too much pepper in my opinion. And though you can have too much salt, it does get kind of difficult to do. All right, give it a good stir. And like I said, you're going to get the brown stuff on the bottom. It's good. Don't worry about it. Okay, we're adding 4 cups of water. I measured it and just tossed it in the green bowl because it was already dirty, so whatever. And then we're going to add in our potatoes and our beets. You may notice I had to pull off the knob. That was so the pot could fit in the right place. It's on the counter behind me there. Give it a good stir, kind of get everything wet. Just make sure everything's situated inside, nothing stuck to the, you know, those sides or bottom or anything like that. There we go. At this point, I'm adding in about 1/4 cup of soy sauce. The extra salt is nice. A little bit of that umami flavor from the soy sauce is good. And we're resalting and peppering the sauce itself. If you're not, soup itself, I should say. If you're not big into soy sauce, you can totally use like a broth, like a chicken or a beef broth or something like that. Something that has that salty flavor to go with it. Soy sauce just happens to be the easiest as far as I'm concerned. I've always got it in house. I love sushi, so there you go. All right, a little bit of a secret ingredient. I always have nutmeg in the house. I love Alton Brown, so he got me into this. Nutmeg is awesome, and it started to smell like I wanted nutmeg, so I kind of just decided randomly to throw it in. Now we just wait for it to come up to a boil. Takes a minute. Watched pots never boil. All right, once you kind of start hearing it start to get up there, it's okay to go ahead and close it up. I give it another good stir just to be on the safe side. And then we're going to lid it. And it's good to go for 30 minutes. I never set it for 30 on the timer. I set it for like 15. That way I at least come back and check it once. Your goal is like maybe 4 times. While it's cooking, time to play video games. That's Final Fantasy 15, by the way. All right, it's all cooked. So here we go. Time for the immersion blender. Immersion blenders are not made to run continuously, so you want to kind of do this in pulses. I like to initially just kind of step it down onto the big chunks and let it start to take them apart. You know, like instead of, you know, trying to wazz it around in there, you'll see what I mean. Kind of like down, and then back up and pick a new piece, and down. It comes together surprisingly fast. There is a jump cut here, but I guarantee you it wasn't more than like 5 minutes to get everything sorted out. Once it starts to look nice and blended, you're in good shape. You might still have some chunks. Don't worry about it. They're actually kind of good in the soup. But take as much or as little time as you want to get it all sorted out. And have a taste test. Okay. Make sure the spoon is clean, especially if you're serving other people. I decided that I really needed something bright in here, and I'm going to add this to the recipe also. But I tossed in about 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar. I figure it's in vogue with Minecraft, because there's apples in Minecraft. Vinegar just adds a nice acidic, bright flavor, and it kind of needed it. All that root vegetable is a little bit heavy, I guess, and so, you know, it just kind of needed a little brightening up. Give it a good stir, get it incorporated. And it's okay that this is being done last. It doesn't really need to cook in order for it to be right. If you cook vinegar, it does take on a bit of a different flavor, but in this application, I actually think this is a good time to add it. You can see what this is doing to my poor little wooden spoon there. It did come out pretty quick, though. Since I've already finished washing everything, I can say that. And the great thing about immersion blenders is you can just pop the bottom off there. I love immersion blenders, by the way. If you don't have one, totally get one. All right, taste again. Again, clean spoon, please, especially if you're cooking for someone else. All right, little tiny pan on the stove. I know this is a comically large heating element, but it's the right place for it to be so you guys can see it. Spray it down with a good amount of no-stick spray. I had turned off the stove where the pot is, but I put the pot back on top of the hot burner just so it would keep the soup warm while we were doing the rest of the cooking here. Grab your egg and grab your, it's time for your Greek yogurt. Now I am using Oikos. It's my favorite. It's the closest to sour cream for this application. It's my favorite for this application. It's the closest to sour cream that I've found. My store brand one actually isn't bad either. A few of the others are meant to be a bit more like yogurty, which I know is silly to say about Greek yogurt, but like regular yogurt, I guess. They're supposed to, or they're formulated to taste more like regular yogurt and not like sour cream. So you really want plain, like punchy Greek yogurt, as sour creamy as possible. And in my opinion, that's Oikos. It's not to say I don't like the other yogurts, and they're really good for like breakfast foods or if you're cooking or something, but this is my favorite for this one. Once the pan is hot, go ahead and toss your egg in. I have never mastered the one-handed egg shelling thing. I just, you know, whatever. And then I salt and pepper the egg right in the pan. By the way, love salt grinders. So awesome. This is going to be on here, by the way, for 3 minutes, but we're going to cover it right after we get the salt and pepper in. And we're just going to let it sit, and you don't actually have to do anything to it, just 3 minutes. 3. Womp. There we go. Okay. We picked up a dinner roll. And we're gonna go ahead and start dishing everything out. Oh, the egg finished. There we go. 3 minutes is up. Happened while we were watching. This makes a lot of soup. The recipe says 2. I usually end up getting 3 or 4 just because of how the beets and potatoes come in the store. Like how many you get, I should say. But this is a really great, like, low-calorie soup. So, I mean, give yourself a really big bowl of it. You don't have to try to, like, skimp out on it. And then all you gotta do is put the egg right on top. And there's your protein. Amazing, right? And we're all done. Oh, well, except for the element there. Ta-da!
So that's it. Now, just like every cooking channel in history, I'm going to go ahead and have a bite. First, though, I'm going to put a little more nutmeg over the top. I love nutmeg on fried eggs. And just for some color, for fun, it doesn't add anything, but, you know, it looks pretty. A little bit of freeze-dried chives. So there we go. It's pretty good. It's pretty healthful, too. It's got a lot of good nutrients in it. You know, beets are pretty good for you. The Greek yogurt's pretty good for you. So go ahead and have a big bowl. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I have enjoyed making it for you. It's getting pretty late here, though. It takes a while to cook when you're, you know, talking at the same time. I got beet color on my roll. So this is what I imagine a meal would be like in Minecraft. There's really not much in here that you can't find in Minecraft aside of the stuff that we use for, like, you know, kicking up the flavor. But even apple cider vinegar would be fine because apples happen in Minecraft. So with that, gonna make a mess. With that, I know it's been a long time. I'm sorry that it's taken me so long to make this video. The holidays kind of kicked my ass. So I hope you've enjoyed our little cooking show. We'll do this again. I already know which recipe is going to be next. Until next time, YouTube, keep having fun.